a single mother's triumph over betrayal. How could you do this to me, David? I screamed, the words searing my throat as if the moment had just happened, though it's been over a year. I was 6 months pregnant, standing at the entrance to our bedroom, trembling with rage and disbelief. He stood there, arms crossed, his face devoid of emotion, as if I was the one blowing things out of proportion. In that moment, I realized the life we'd built together was nothing but a sham. My name is Laura Bennett. I'm 32 years old, and I'm the single mother of my beautiful 1-year-old daughter, Sophie. Life didn't turn out the way I'd dreamed, but in many ways, it's now better than I could have imagined. A year ago, I faced a betrayal that nearly broke me, but it also set me on a path to rebuild stronger than ever. It all started when my friend Megan came to see me. Her face was pale, her eyes brimming with anxiety. I knew instantly something was wrong. "Laura, we need to talk," she said, stepping into my apartment. She hesitated as if searching for the right words. "I saw David with Claire today," she said finally. My heart raced. "Where?" I asked, my voice trembling. "They were leaving a hotel, kissing right there in the lobby." I didn't want to believe it. "Are you sure? Could you have been mistaken?" But deep down, I knew Megan wouldn't lie. It felt like a kick to the stomach. David, my husband, and Claire, my best friend, the two people I trusted most. My mind reeled. I bombarded Megan with questions. When, where was she absolutely certain? But I already knew the truth. It was as if the floor had vanished beneath me. I tried to find an explanation. A hotel. Maybe it was a work meeting, a coincidence. Megan shook her head. "I was visiting relatives at that hotel. I saw them, Laura. I'm so sorry, but I had to tell you." Her words carried a heavy truth. I sank onto the couch, my legs shaking. How could this happen? David, the man I was building a family with. Claire, my friend of nearly 10 years. How could they betray me, especially now when I'm carrying our child? A wave of emotions crashed over me. Anger, pain, humiliation, all tangled together. I thought of every promise we'd made, every dream we'd shared. Now it all felt like a lie. Was I blind? Had I missed the signs? Or was I so insignificant that I could be discarded so easily? The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt. That afternoon, I waited for David. My stomach churned, my heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. When I heard his car pull into the driveway, a mix of fury and fear surged through me. He walked in casually, tossing his keys onto the counter, shrugging off his jacket as if it were just another day. But I stopped him in the kitchen. "How long has this been going on, David?" My voice quivered but held firm. He looked surprised, then his expression hardened. "What are you talking about?" he muttered, pretending to be confused. "Don't act innocent. Megan saw you at the hotel with Claire. You think I'll believe it was a coincidence?" His face tightened, but he quickly regained his composure. "Megan's always meddling. You're going to believe her. She probably got it wrong, Laura. You're overreacting." But his voice was too sharp, and he wouldn't meet my eyes. That told me everything. My fists clenched, anger rising. "Don't treat me like a fool, David," I said, my voice nearly a shout. "Megan's not a liar, and you know it. She saw you two leaving a room, kissing. So stop lying and tell me the truth." He sighed, rolling his eyes as if I were being unreasonable. "Laura, you're making a scene." "Fine, what do you want me to say? Yes, I've been close with Claire. It just happened. No need to turn this into a drama." I felt something inside me break. "It just happened," I repeated, my legs trembling. "You cheated on me with my best friend and you don't even care." David sighed again, rubbing his face in irritation. "Laura, things aren't the same anymore. You've changed. Look at yourself. You're always complaining, your back hurts, your feet are swollen, you're tired. I get it, you're pregnant, but you act like you're the only woman who's ever been pregnant. It's exhausting." I felt a lump in my throat, rage mixing with hurt. "Are you serious? I'm carrying your child and you're upset that I'm struggling." But he didn't stop. He looked me up and down with a cold, judgmental glance. "You don't even try to look presentable anymore. Always in those baggy sweatpants, your hair in a messy bun. Have you seen yourself? Claire, at least, takes care of herself. She's fun, vibrant. And you're just heavy, Laura, you're draining." His words hit like a knife. This man, who I'd loved and built a life with, was tearing me apart, stripping away my dignity. I'd hoped he'd at least apologize, admit it was a mistake. Instead, he mocked me, as if betraying me wasn't enough. I pressed my lips together, fighting back tears. I refused to let him see me cry. "You don't love us, do you?" I whispered, resting my hand on my belly where our daughter moved. For a moment, his eyes flicked down, and I hoped he'd feel something for our unborn child. But when he looked back at me, his gaze was empty. "Don't make this a soap opera, Laura, it's just life." I couldn't believe he said that. Fury surged within me. "You're a coward, David," I spat, my voice thick with disgust. He chuckled darkly, shaking his head. "I'm moving on, Laura. Maybe you should too." Those words were the final straw. In that moment, I knew he was no longer the man I loved. I wouldn't let him hurt me again. The next day, I packed my bags, hands shaking as I folded my clothes. The apartment was filled with memories, photos of us smiling, the blanket we'd cuddled under, the crib we'd chosen together. But none of it mattered anymore. It was all a lie. My mom had been urging me to stay with her for weeks, promising to help with the pregnancy. I'd resisted, hoping to fix things on my own. But now I had no choice. When I arrived at her house, she was waiting at the door, her face full of concern. Seeing my tear-streaked face, her expression softened. "Laura, sweetheart," she said gently, and I broke down, collapsing into her arms, sobbing. "It's okay, honey," she whispered, stroking my hair. "You and Sophie will be fine. We'll get through this. You'll forget that man like a bad dream." I knew she was right, but in that moment the world felt like it had collapsed. Life at Mom's was calmer, but the pain lingered. She tried to distract me, cooking my favorite meals, talking about anything but David. But when I was alone, the emptiness consumed me. I spent hours preparing for Sophie, folding tiny clothes, arranging stuffed animals, wondering how I'd manage on my own. Every night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, tempted to text David to demand answers. How could you? Why did you do this? Did you even think about our baby? But I never did. He'd vanished as if we'd never existed. Weeks passed, and slowly I stopped checking my phone. I no longer waited for his call or hoped for an apology. I didn't want to see him or hear his voice. He'd chosen his path, and I'd chosen mine. The pregnancy was tough, exhausting, sleepless nights, and the weight of loneliness. I saw other families, fathers pushing strollers, holding their wives' hands, and it hurt. David should have been there, holding my hand at ultrasounds, picking out baby toys, carrying me through the hard days. But he wasn't, and that broke something in me. Then I felt Sophie move, and the pain eased. She reminded me I wasn't alone, that I had to be strong for her. When she was born, everything changed. Her tiny fingers, her soft cheeks, her first cry. It was the most beautiful moment of my life. Holding her, tears of joy streamed down my face. I didn't think about David not being there or missing her birth. All that mattered was Sophie. My reason to keep going, my victory. The early weeks with her were exhausting. Sleepless nights, barely eating, but every smile, every coo made me feel alive. I looked at her and wondered how I'd ever doubted myself. She was my world, and nothing else mattered. I no longer waited for David's love or feared being alone. With Sophie, I'd never be alone. Months later, Sophie grew and I grew stronger. Mom helped, but I wanted to prove, to myself, maybe even to David, that I could do this without him. Sometimes loneliness crept in, especially seeing families in the park, fathers playing with their kids. But then I'd look at Sophie's trusting eyes and know we didn't need him. One day, Mom convinced me to take a break. "Laura, go out, take a walk, do something for yourself," she said. I hesitated but agreed. It had been so long since I'd done something for myself. At the mall, I wandered through stores, feeling like a person again, not just a mom. Then a voice stopped me cold. "Laura!" I turned, and there was Claire. She looked worn, pale, tired, with dark circles under her eyes, and she was pregnant. "Laura, please, I need to talk," she said, grabbing my hand, her fingers trembling. I stayed silent, waiting. "David left me," she said, tears welling up. "Everything fell apart after we moved in together. He lost his job, started drinking, gambling. When I told him I was pregnant, he just walked out. He said he wasn't ready." I felt a cold calm settle over me. "What?" I asked, my voice steady. "I'm so sorry, Laura. I ruined your family, and now he's left me too." She sobbed, right there in the middle of the mall. I didn't feel satisfaction or revenge, just emptiness. I'd once imagined this moment, her begging for forgiveness, and thought it would feel good. But now I felt nothing. "Please, Laura, forgive me," she whispered, reaching for my hand. I looked at her, turned, and walked away, leaving her crying alone. Back home, another shock awaited. David was sitting on my doorstep, disheveled, reeking of alcohol, eyes bloodshot. He stumbled as he tried to stand. "Laura," he slurred. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice icy. "I had to see you," he mumbled. "I messed up. I lost everything, you, Sophie, my job, everything." I stared at him, waiting. "I love you, Laura. I want to see Sophie." Anger flared inside me. "Now, after abandoning us, after leaving me alone in the hospital, after ignoring your daughter's birth." He raised his hands, pleading. "I was a fool. I get it now. Please, Laura, I've changed." I laughed bitterly. "Changed? You're only here because you're scared and alone. You haven't changed, you're just desperate." He broke down, tears streaming. "I know I don't deserve you, but please, let me be part of Sophie's life. I'm her father." "Father?" I scoffed. "You abandoned her before she was born. You didn't see her first steps or hear her first laugh. You're nothing to her," he sobbed, covering his face. "Laura, please." "No," I said, calm and resolute. "You made your choice, live with it." I turned, opened the door, and left him there, broken. Inside, I leaned against the door, expecting a flood of emotions, but none came. Instead, I felt free. The two people who'd shattered my life had come back, begging, and I'd walked away. I hadn't sought revenge or plotted their downfall. Their own choices had led them here. I climbed the stairs and peeked into Sophie's room. She slept peacefully, her tiny hands spread out, her face serene under the soft glow of her nightlight. I kissed her forehead, overwhelmed with love. This was my life now, and it was enough. I'd survived betrayal, fear, and loneliness. I'd raised my daughter, rebuilt myself, and emerged stronger. Those who tried to break me were now broken themselves, and I hadn't lifted a finger. Their selfishness consumed them, just as they'd once torn my world apart. People say time heals, but it doesn't. Strength heals. Choosing yourself heals. Moving forward, even when it feels impossible, heals. I live for Sophie, for myself, and that makes my life whole. Before leaving her room, I looked at my daughter one more time and smiled. Everything will be okay. What would you have done in my place? Share your thoughts or experiences below. Your story might inspire someone facing their own struggles, reminding them they're not alone.